morning, everyone. Welcome into the PM and the AM show with me, my man Mike. What's going on, Michael?
Good morning there, Patrick.
What's
And Albert.
yes, and Al.
Top
How
of
you
the
doing?
morning to you there, Patrick Boy.
Yes. Well, listen. Yes. Oh, freaking yes. The Phillies are just taking care of business this whole week. They've looked really sharp because they've mopped up the Giants. They've won 2 out of 3 from them. Then they go to yesterday, Friday, and last night. What a beatdown! Now I get it. The Cardinals are an inferior opponent. However, a beatdown's a beatdown. You just got to call for what it is. And this Phillies offense, just small ball, long ball, how you want it, they delivered. Bryson Stott, Nick Castellanos, Brandon Marsh, send that ball out of here. And I got to give my man Zach Wheeler some love because he was not afraid to attack that strike zone. I mean, 10 Ks just up and away. He was just delivering the fastball and breaking ball. And he had guys fishing. He had guys looking dumb. He did a solid job. But Mike, I gotta take it to you, buddy. What did you see from yesterday's game?
I'm gonna go back to Friday's game. Like to me, I think Christopher Sanchez set the tone for the weekend. He looked really good. He went 6 innings. He only gave up 2 earned runs. Had 6 Ks. By the way, good morning to my wife and my mother-in-law. They're both watching. They both said hello.
Oh, hello there, Mrs. Lauro, and to the boss, the boss of bosses.
Yes,
the boss's boss.
The boss's boss.
Yeah.
But getting back to Friday night's game, I just took some notes down. Harper continuing to swing a very hot bat. Turner's been kind of being steady.
The consistency you expect to see from him.
Yes.
Expected to see from a long time.
Right. That's starting to come into fruition. Schwarber is just getting on a tear. Now, stop and think about this for a second, guys. Olsen's at what, like 44 home runs or something like that? Like Schwarber's 9 behind him. Like how fast he's closed the gap. Like, because I feel like Olsen's been at 40 for like a month, or 40 something for a month, and this dude has just been on a tear.
Well, if there's a big thing of crow around, my man, our guys, Bill Foreman and Matty B, have to be eating that today.
No. What's up, Insanio? No.
What's up, Insane and Membrane?
I'm going to have to disagree with you there because I understand the point where they're coming from. Yes, Schwarber has been, if you look at this year, it's been a homer or bust. Now, he's starting to get his contact's getting a little bit better. He's getting some more hits. But in the overall thing, man. Brad says, what's up, guys?
Totally agree, Brad.
Yeah, listen, they scored 19 runs in the last 2 games. Think about that for a second. Now,
listen, the Cardinals, one of the bottom feeders of the league, but this is what you do to win.
Right. And also, too, but look at a team that's also in the playoff picture, too, with the Giants. Like, if, our boys, and the Sully squad, I kind of chimed in on their show a little bit Monday night, and they said over the next 6 games, what would you be consist of? I said 4-2. And listen,
is that looking at the Braves and
no? This was coming into this week. Cardinals and the Giants.
Oh, okay,
4-2. So, I personally, if they win today, they got a good possibility to go 5-1 on this homestand.
If they win today, it is 5-1.
Right, it's 5-1, and now you got 3 games coming in with the
Angels.
Ohtani's banged up. We're catching a break because we're not going to see him pitching.
I'll be down there on Tuesday.
Nice.
Yeah.
So there you go. And you know what? And they kind of split, I think, so far with the Mets, and the Mets are lowly. So I mean, it's right in front of the Phillies right now.
You control your destiny now.
You guys hear that?
Yeah,
Ohtani hit a ball and it smashed, it broke a lighter bulb or something on the scoreboard.
Really?
And the next time he came up and says, "We're going to bill you for that, Ohtani," or something like that.
Yeah, it's funny, but like I said, now getting into yesterday's game, it just seemed like everybody was hitting. I mean, Castellanos was 2 for 5 with 3 runs batted in. Stott was 2 for 4 with a home run and an RBI. Marsh again 2 for 4, a home run or 3 RBIs, and then Turner 2 for 4 with a ribby. Yeah, I mean this right here. What are they called? The babysitting club or the kids?
Oh, the daycare.
The daycare. These daycare kids are really going. And I mean, and Bohm even got on base yesterday in his couple of bats.
Yeah. Well, that's like I said. If anyone had a bad day yesterday, it would be Dakota Hudson. I mean, my man, he was walking people just to start the
Well,
opening inning. Like
him and JT,
he put people on. He loaded up the bases for the Phillies to take care of business. And like I was listening, Trey Turner hit into the double play. He was like, "Oh well, that's not good for the Phillies." And like next bat, here comes Bryce Harper. Just drive.
Brad asked us a question. He says, "Do you guys think they will make the playoffs?" So they meaning who, Brad? The Phillies?
I think
Yeah.
he's being the Phillies.
If he's meaning the Phillies, the Phillies are in good.
I think
they're in great shape right now.
Looking right now, that's why I pulled that up since he asked the question. The Phillies at this point are 3.5 games up in the number one wild card spot, with the Cubs behind them at 3 games. Arizona, of course, 3.5 games. Cincinnati at a half a game out of the wild card, and the San Francisco Giants continue to fall, and they're 1.5.
This is like Gay Kabler-esque. He falls at the wrong time.
Every year.
Everybody falls at the wrong time.
Well, no, everybody gets always so high on the Giants. The Giants don't have like bona fide superstar.
No.
They have some guys who used to be or guys who would never be.
I was surprised.
And they play good. Like that's really like you have to give the guy credit there, but it's just not enough. And they either squeak to the end of the playoffs, get roasted in the playoffs, or they don't make the playoffs. And that's what it looks like right now. I mean, they're 3-7 in their last 10. They're 2-8. They could have been 2-8.
So let me ask you a question. Looking at the standings the way they are right now, you're looking at a potential second round, not wild card round, but second round. Your matchups are looking like this: Braves, Phillies again, and then Dodgers, Brewers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, to me, I feel like it bodes so well for the Phillies, only because we know Atlanta. Listen, like I said, I've said it on my show. Them and the Dodgers are the 2 biggest choking franchises when it comes to postseason baseball. Now, granted, the Dodgers did win in 2020 and the Braves did win in 2021.
Yeah.
You got to tip your cap to those guys, especially that Braves team, because they did come from out of nowhere. They were like in the middle of the pack halfway through the season. But I, as a Phillies fan, yes, if you're a Phillies fan, you should have the confidence, especially when they play the Braves, because when they play the Braves in the regular season, they're always around 500, give or take a game. You know what I mean? With the way these playoffs are set up. But what you have to feel good about is Atlanta's never beaten the Phillies in the postseason. If you look back at the Dodgers, the Phillies have owned the Dodgers. Think about this. The last time the Dodgers beat the Phillies in a postseason was in 1977.
Listen, look here, bullfrog penis. I gotta pump your brakes down. I gotta pump you down a little bit.
Okay, well, you can pump me out all you want, dude.
You're looking for trouble.
Yes,
you are
I
looking
am.
because this Braves team. Again, I love you and I love Matty P.
They had 101 wins a year ago, Pat. What happened? What happened? They had 101 wins last year and they got exited. Stop with that. Stop with the insanity. You guys in this.
We're not going to catch them.
I didn't say nothing about catching them
last
in the division.
And then I heard Matty B yesterday. Oh, I think we can catch these guys.
They can.
No, they're 13 and a half games away.
Okay, and we have 7 against them. We have 7 against them.
Yeah, and you have 6 against them in September.
Listen, is it a daunting task? Absolutely.
Can it happen? Yes.
No, it can't.
Oh, here we go. Buy a dog. Buy a dog.
Unfortunately, every time we win, they win right behind us. So it's like
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about postseason. Yeah. Postseason. The Braves can. I don't care. Let them win the division.
You're asking for trouble dealing with that offense. Dealing with that offense.
Do you not see our offense? We just put up 19 runs in the last 2 days.
Okay.
19 runs.
Did you not see that same game yesterday? The Braves were just dominating the Giants. Dominate them.
So did we. We dominated them 2 days.
Ronald Acuna Jr., you want that? You want Matt Olson? You want Austin Riley?
I want them all. Bring them. They do it every year. They choke.
What is it?
Copy that soundbite.
Yeah. Flip that one.
But I'm just saying, I'm not scared of the Braves. I'm not scared of the Dodgers. I'm sorry. They can be beat. Did they not have 101 wins last year? They had Ronald Acuna last year. What did he do in the playoffs? I'm sorry. I'll wait.
That's all right, but I'm telling you, that team is more dangerous than it was last year.
No, it's not more dangerous than it was a year ago. They got the same players they had a year ago. Spencer Strider looked awestruck when he came into 3 hours of hell at Citizens Bank Park. I'm not trying to hear the Braves. Listen, the Braves are a very good organization. They are a great regular season team. They suck in the postseason. Mike,
they're going to open your eyes.
No, they're not going to open my eyes because the Phillies are going to handle them again.
Let's be honest. It's going to be a battle.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's
Yeah,
not going to. I'm
yeah.
not saying the Phillies are
And
just
it
going to
could
sweep them.
go. It could go either way. But it's not hard to believe your Pat side of the story, and it's not hard to believe Mike's side of the story. We've seen it happen last year,
Right.
and and like Mike said, just a few years ago, they won it all. So to sit there and say they can't do it on either side is ridiculous. But history does go to show, like, as except for 2021, like look at the teams that go in and usually either they go on a tear and they don't get beaten like the Astros did last year.
Right, look at the
against
Astros. The
Phillies.
Astros were like, you want to talk about a team that was smoking? Dude, they ran through the American League last year. They got their first loss in Game 1 of the World Series.
But that's what I'm saying, Mike. You're getting all happy and excited for this Phillies team
Because this
they're
team,
starting pitching so inconsistent. This Braves team, you can't sleep on them. You can't sleep on that offense.
oh my God.
You can't.
Okay.
You're going to tell me.
Somebody forgot to wear their Brave shirts today.
You want a tomahawk to go there? Tommy Tomahawk? I mean, really. You know, like, give me a break.
I'm just letting you know.
I'm letting you know. Dude, look at the past. The past this Phillies team is better than the team that beat them a year ago.
Their offense is good, but that starting pitching that's been so inconsistent.
Our starting pitching was the backbone of this team for months, Pat. What are you
No, it's not.
It's
the
not.
offense has been.
You bumped your head. You were in the sun too long yesterday.
Yeah, well, I did get hit with a bunch of things yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, Wheeler.
Haley phallic shape.
Listen.
Wheeler, Noah have been very inconsistent. Last year they've been more consistent.
Okay, but guess what? Taijuan Walker's been consistent. Ranger Suarez has gotten better. And our fifth starter Christopher Sanchez, has been pretty much money, which they did not have a year ago. I have faith that a guy like Zach Wheeler, who dominated this Cardinals lineup yesterday with 10 Ks and no walks, okay, he's getting into a rhythm at the right time. Walker's been pitching damn near lights out all year. He's had a couple hiccups. Lorenzen's had a couple hiccups now, but you can also see the upside of what he brings to the rotation. So, no, don't sit here and tell me that the team that they had, you have a better team this year than we had a year ago. And this very same Braves team, they only upgraded a couple, not even a couple. They upgraded maybe a spot or two. The pitching staff's still the same. They still got 900-year-old Charlie Morton, who chokes in the playoffs. Okay, I like Strider. I think Strider's a beast.
That's what, like I said, that's where I differ. I think the offense has upgraded from last year, but I think the Phillies pitching staff has been a
come on, Pat.
It's been a gray area.
Their starting pitching.
Their starting pitching has been
pitching has been better this year. Their bullpen's been better this year. Like, I don't know when this team wasn't hitting, Pat, the pitching carried them. Like
a little bit.
No, not a little bit. A lot. Come on, you can't. The first half of this season, it was Bryson Stott and Nick Castellanos were the only two offensive players that were producing.
Like
JT's been on a milk carton most of the year.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Okay. I'm trying to think who else. Harper wasn't the same. He was coming off injury. Okay, Turner, we all know his story. Schwarber, same thing.
My biggest fear is when they come into here, when they come to South Philly, this small ballpark, that Braves offense is going to light up that Phillies pitching staff.
I don't think so, dude. Like, again, you're worried. Go get a dog. You're worried. You were the same guy who was worried about facing them a year ago. And I told you, relax. There's one thing I can guarantee you on. The Braves will choke in the postseason. They do it all the time, Pat. They were a dominant
Every year's different.
Bro, they were a dominant team for 2 decades and won one world championship. One up until 2021. One. No, I don't want to hear that BS, dude. Same thing with the Dodgers. The Dodgers were 88 and forever, okay? Until they won in 20 in a strike shortened season.
But look at the month of September. They got the Brewers.
Okay.
Tough.
Dude, you got to play the teams.
Braves on a back-to-back week. Got 6 games with them. Tough. And you got
7 games with them because one was rained out.
Okay.
So we have 7 games with the Braves.
And then you got the Mets, who look
and you got the Pirates in there, too. Don't forget to throw them in there. But you got a home and home with the Mets. You finish that up. That's how you finish it. But, dude, come on.
I'm telling you this.
Mike, can you actually say you trust Noah in these playoffs? Plus, the way Lorenzen has pitched in his last 2 games. Come on, seriously, Dave. I'm not even.
There goes a real.
Listen,
that's a baseball line right there.
That dude will literally look and complain about a 12-1 win. He will find something to bitch about. Like Davey Downer, that is his name. Did you hear me say anything about Nola at all? I brought up everybody else but Nola. So I don't know why he's asking me. And yes, I do trust Aaron Nola because guess what? He's been getting better in his last starts too. Go ahead and look. Thank you. Thank you. There's somebody who's not from the area who's looking in.
Relax, grasshopper.
Yes, that's what he's telling you. See, the Braves are the Bruins of the MLB.
Jeez.
And that's a guy that's a Bruins.
And I know he lives and dies with Boston sports.
Dave will look at this 12-1 win and literally go, "Well, Zach Wheeler."
Dave only speaks the facts about it.
Speaks the facts about it. Oh my God! Yeah, well, Wheeler would have had a better game if he didn't just throw that ball down the middle. No, never mind that they put up 12 runs and he had 10 strikeouts. Dave will find the one thing wrong.
And by the way, he was supposed to go in the 8th inning, but he did, and he got the first let up a hit.
Oh, man, Mike's got the coffee out.
He let up the hit.
Friggin' guys, man! These guys
don't forget that 7th inning was so long, his shoulder probably froze over.
Yeah.
But one thing that we all can agree upon is Sherry'sTickets.com. Because when if I want to go down one of these great games, today's game, for instance, I go to Sherry'sTickets.com. No hidden fees. You will not get bamboozled at checkout. You'll get a great price on premium seats. And that's sports, concerts, theater, you name it. They got it. Promo code EOP10. That's right. Promo code EOP10 will save you 10% off at Sherry'sTickets.com. Guys, check it out. And let's get back to the action between these two knuckleheads.
Yeah. I mean, but no, seriously. I the reason why I have faith in the Phillies is one, recent history. Okay, and I'm sorry, Pat, you can't take that away. Like, I don't want to hear that. Oh, well, it's the same one. Oh, here we go. They play the last place team. Yeah, but they took 2 out of 3 from a team that was literally right behind them in the standings in the Giants. Go away with that crap.
And
again, he will find something wrong to bitch about. Like, I swear, I've never seen a dude like this.
Also, one of the funny things that you guys didn't mention yesterday that happened.
What's
nothing
that?
Phillies related, but yesterday was a happy birthday to Mr. James Harden.
Oh, yeah, the Sixers sent him a happy birthday.
The Sixers account had a happy birthday graphic up for him yesterday.
That was great.
Oh yeah.
No, I love Dave. I do. I love Dave.
I'm saying, but look, we got to square up here because you're coming at me with you and your bullfrog penis, and you're going to sit there and jump on me and stick it in. Jump on, stick it in.
Can we go to commercial on that one? Can we go to commercial?
I don't know where he's going with this.
I don't know where he's going, and I don't want to be nowhere near it. Hold on, I might need to start spiking this. Oh
my God. So what I'm alluding to is that I can't see it. I think the Phillies got in.
Why you didn't see it last year?
I did see it last year.
No, you did not. No, you did not. You were right here on this show.
You can't. This team had a better chance.
I swear.
This team had a better chance with Rhys Hoskins because he delivered the long ball, and you don't have him in the lineup, and that's what scares me because the Braves have everybody. They have Acuna. They got Austin Riley.
I think Al just died of a heart attack.
They got Austin Riley. I mean, yeah, are they a better team where they were last year? Of course. But this Braves team, I mean, and this inconsistent Phillies pitching staff are going to collide. And I think the Braves team.
They had 101 wins a year ago. They were the best team in the National League.
They took the Phillies lately. It's not going to be the same go.
Take the Phillies. The Phillies kicked their ass last year. That's what happened. Like,
they're begging for the playoff. They're begging for the rematch.
Well, good. They're going to get their chance. And then what happens when the Phillies beat them again? And you're going to sit here with your pom-poms going, yeah.
You're going to run around here naked.
I hope not. Surely hope not.
Talk about pom-pom.
Oh, pom-poms, sandbags.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Duffel bags.
Off the road, off the trails we go.
No, but hold on. The Braves are sitting on top of the Phillies.
Listen, the Braves are a good team. I'm not denying that the Braves are not a good team. All I'm saying is this, Pat. You have to look at their history. They choked in the playoffs. They choked. Yes, did they win? Yeah. I mean, dude, listen. They put up 19 runs. They put up 19 runs, and I know Dave's going to say that they're a last place team, but guess what? At the end of the day, they're a major league team.
Right.
So, I mean, yes, Dave, they lost 2 out of 3, but they also took 2 out of 3 from the Giants. And if I'm not looking right, didn't Washington just take 2 out of 3 from somebody else too?
And the Giants are a declining team.
We all know divisional anything is always different, no matter how good or bad the other team is on the other side.
again,
Yes, there has been a lot of times you can look back that they didn't win against the Marlins when they should. They didn't win against the Nationals when they should. But the question is, where are they sitting right now? Geez, let me think. The Marlins are 3 games out
right, and this
of
was
the
the team
wild
that Pat was
card.
worried about. Talking about, oh man,
The Nationals are 7 games out, and the Mets are 9 games out. So, with that being said, it does not matter
yeah,
in the
like I
long
mean,
run.
dude,
I mean, you don't want to see that. I get very upset with it like the next one. And I'm not saying, Dave, that's not a point to be taken,
dude, a
but it's
team.
also not the point of the situation.
Again, I'm going to use the Braves. The Braves won 101 games last year, which means guess what? They had 62 losses. So even your best teams will lose 60 some games in a year. So yes, and I'm pretty sure they've lost games. They lost to the Marlins a year ago. They lost to the Washington Nationals a year ago. So yes, you will get caught up and lose to certain teams that you shouldn't be losing to because one, you can't beat them all the time. It's baseball. It's a marathon. So yes, you will get caught up, and yes, you will get caught. Last weekend, Phillies got caught. It's just that plain and simple. They had a bad weekend, but what did they do? They turned it around and they took.
Yes,
Again, they had a team that listen. I don't care where they are now. When that series started, the Giants were right behind the Phillies.
and look, I'm like everyone in this room. I was very excited yesterday. Look, a 12-1 win says volumes. I get it. They beat up an inferior opponent. The Cardinals have no business. They're looking to rebuild. We got all that. However, and yesterday too, just they thumped a team like the Cardinals. However, like I said, I'm just waiting for this September,
We
month
all are.
come through
We all are because
it's going to be
it's going to be good baseball.
it's going to be good
You
baseball.
have good teams coming in. I'm not saying the Phillies are going to beat everybody and they're just going to smoke everybody. No, there's going to be some losses in there, and we're going to be frustrated with some of the games. Look how they got into the playoffs a year ago.
And this is what kind of is going to lead me into my next segment, Mike. So you had the Phillies go off yesterday. You had the Philadelphia Union go off yesterday. So, Mike, this is why I brought up the show be called Tier 1. I mean, I feel confident about the Phillies. I feel confident about the Union. I feel confident about even the Philadelphia Stars. But, the 3 teams I think that are leading Philadelphia sports right now as a power ranking would be the Phillies, the Union, and the Eagles. Do you feel confident those 3 teams? Like I got the Sixers, the Wings, and the Philadelphia Stars on Tier 2. Is that how you see this?
I wouldn't have the Sixers on tier 2. I mean, if you're looking at it, I mean, right now, of course, you're going to have the Phillies. You're going to have the Eagles because the Eagles are coming off a Super Bowl run. The Eagles are coming off a World Series. I'm sorry. Eagles coming off a Super Bowl run. Phillies coming off a World Series appearance. And it looks like they're going back to the postseason. So, yeah, you would have to keep them 2 up there. The Sixers, they were just in the postseason. Granted, they made their normal second round exit, but you got to keep them like they're the top 3 tier. Those 3 are in the top tier right now. Flyers, we already know they're rebuilding. It's going to be a minute for them. As far as and you got to put the Union, I think, in the first tier too, because they're becoming a constant.
Yeah, it's good
playoff team.
They're coming, like you said, it's more consistent with those guys.
They are, and you know what? And believe it or not, I haven't been. I'm not the biggest soccer fan, and I don't come on here to, and I don't ever claim to be. But I would be interested. Like when they were in the championship game last year, like I watched the soccer game. Like, and I never thought I've been to one soccer game once in my life. It was at the link. We went to it.
Right.
I didn't find it. I wasn't excited about it, but I did watch to support that.
Right. Well, like I said, so we had this conversation Thursday, right, with the attack and third guys, and they're confident. Like nobody in the East scares them. Like they think they can make the deep. Gus and Austin thinks they can make a deep run here. So I said this Inter Miami team, if Messi gets in, look at it, that might be your only issue. But I still feel like they can make a deep run enough where they can get to the MLS Conference Finals. Same thing with the Philadelphia Phillies. I'm like, is there any, and Al, you can answer this too. Is there anybody you feel worried about as far as the NL that you would go if you go into the postseason now? Is there any team that's you feel like that has the Phillies number that scares you or worries you, or you think they can make a deep run as well?
Milwaukee, and the reason why I say Milwaukee is they got pitching. Milwaukee's got very good pitching. The problem with Milwaukee is they don't have hitting. But I feel like the Phillies can hang with both the Braves and the Dodgers. I mean, we saw. I mean, all right, they played 6 games. They were 2-4 against the Dodgers, but like I said, they played the Dodgers very early on in the season, once the Phillies started clicking a little bit, you seen when they came back here, the Phillies took 2 or 3 from them and kind of hit them around, kind of good.
Right.
You know what I mean? The Braves again, it's a division foe. Every year, it's always, 2 games probably max, going either way. So I look for that to continue because they play each other very well. But it's the Phillies play against other teams, the teams that are not so good. I'll tell you what, one team in the NL that I'm looking at, if they can get their stuff together, and they're right behind the Phillies, and that's the Cubs. The only good thing I would like about that is that 3-game set is here, and I don't see them coming here and taking 2 or 3. Not in this, not in this platform, the way they have it set up. But if the Cubbies say the Cubbies drop down a spot, then you got Cubbies playing, whoever, like, maybe say the Reds get in. Maybe
Right.
the Reds get ahead of them. Like, I would love to see the Reds again because I feel like the Phillies kind of owe them a couple too.
Well, right now, I mean, it's set up for the Diamondbacks, the
That's
Cubbies.
another one too. Like Diamondbacks, I would love it because they would have to come here. Now,
Right.
granted, they're one of the rare teams that actually they swept the Phillies here at the
Right.
beginning of the year. But then the Phillies also returned the favor out there and swept them 4 games out there. So, so there again, like I said, you just have to wait and see, man. Like who's going to match up. If I'm looking at any team, there's 2 particular. Like I said, I'm not worried about the Dodgers or the Braves. To me, their past says it all to me.
Right.
Like they can get to the dance, and sometimes they're good enough to get to a World Series, but they're not. They're never good. The odds of them going and winning the whole thing again, no.
Yeah,
You would make more money betting against it than you would betting for it.
Thanks, Marie. She has love my Phillies always.
Dave saying, Al, you've even said the Phillies can't be losing to teams they should be beating. It will kill them in the long run. Dave, I said if it comes down to the end of the season and they're skin of their teeth in the playoff run, yeah, these are the games, like the loss to the Nationals. Yeah, you will look back at them and going, those are the games that killed you. But as of right now, that's not the problem. Those teams are falling out, and the Phillies are rising up.
Dave's under a blanket with a warm bottle of milk right now because he looked at that Philly schedule and saw. He's like Pat. He saw the Braves. He saw the Marlins, and Dave is like shaking in his boots right now with a warm glass of milk, hiding under a blanket. Maybe he's got a maybe he's got a Mr. Teddy with him.
There goes my man Joe Sullivan. He says,
"What's up, Joey?
Good morning, fellas. The Phillies have looked good.
Look of a run coming.
Yeah. Well, listen,
Joe, you need to start talking about this. You need to get this into this knucklehead behind me or on the side of me here because he's going up. Him and Dave are about to share a tent.
Well, hello.
What's up, Tony?
My man Tony says Sixers have bad management, no winning culture.
No, these have bad management. Plain and simple.
I kind of agree with the no winning culture.
Yeah, right. So
that's who. Yeah.
And I want to get into that. My man Dodge, what's up, dog? Good morning, guys.
See, me and Joe think alike. Milwaukee's his dark horse. That's why I said Milwaukee can.
It's the quiet. It's the silent team like that. Like you're not looking at. Nobody's even talking about Milwaukee.
No, because everybody's so Atlanta. It's so Atlanta, LA. Oh, Atlanta, LA. And you know what? Like I said, put your money down on it. Neither one of them are going to make the NLCS. They're not going to make the NLCS.
Dave checking. He says Milwaukee's playing well right now. Like I said, you can't really turn.
Dave, you might want to make room for Pat next to you in your little binky tent. But get him another glass of warm milk. He's going to.
Am I wearing a onesie?
I don't know. Whatever.
The back door open.
Whatever you wear, that's
that door.
That's between you. Joe says ATL is the best team, but I like our chances, especially against them if we take one of the first 2 down there.
Yeah. Oh well, like I said, it's going to be a lot of fun. But
also going to be a lot of fun. Is
back door?
I don't even know.
How about Philly sports trips? Can we go somewhere?
Yeah. I mean,
send me to Tampa.
Yeah, we might need to get away. There is so many trips coming up. I mean, away games galore. They're heading out to Los Angeles. They're heading up to New York twice. One to see the Jets game, and one also to see the Giants game. Don't forget a trip to DC, which we've done. It is an amazing trip. They have to head out to Kansas City again for the after the Super Bowl or not the Super Bowl, the draft. So check that out. And of course, always, even though I'm not a Cowboys fan, Dallas is a pretty cool trip to head out to.
Right.
Like the city of Dallas is pretty cool. And Dallas fans from Dallas are not the problem.
It's the ones from here.
It's the ones from here you got to worry about. But like Mike said, the one that's coming up that you can get to because the New England trip is off the books, ladies and gentlemen. It has been sold out because you wait too long. But you get the Philly Sports Trips right now. PhillySportsTrips.com. Sign up for that Tampa trip. What a great time. Tampa at the end of September. Hell yeah. Get out there, PhillySportsTrips.com. And also, they have all the tailgates are all set up for the home games.
But you know what? Like I said, I take a step back. I look at this Phillies team. You got to be excited because of they have most home runs in the month of August. Let alone this week, they had 12 doubles. I mean,
47 beat the franchise record for most home runs in a single.
That's incredible. 47 home runs. Think about that. That's awesome. And then, like I said,
and they still have some time left.
Right. And then you had 12 doubles. Chris Rapazzi checking in. The bats are definitely were hot last night. Yeah, they were. And again, you're taking care of your opponent. You're showing your dominance. Dave Yarn checking in with you, Mike. He goes, "Yeah, Mike, I have a Winnie the Pooh next to me with my blanket."
Well, good. Now you got Eeyore joining you.
He got you.
Yes.
Got you.
So,
Eeyore, hey whore,
but yeah, like so.
What a whore.
Oh. So yeah, for me, I for my three top tier number one tier would be the Phillies, the Eagles. Like with the Eagles, I have no worries. I just have none. Like
I'll tell you what, we're gonna get into that too, because like some cuts came down yesterday, kind of raised my eyebrow a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, and the Philadelphia Union again, they just know how to get things done. They get a huge win in DC yesterday. You took care of a team that's looking to get into the playoff realm. They got a tough schedule come up in September against the Kansas City FC and against LAFC. So, yeah, two teams are sitting at one in the East and two in the West. So the Phillies have the Union have their work cut out for them. And then you look at tier two for me would be like again the Philadelphia Stars because they made an appearance last year in the championship and they kind of didn't make the playoffs.
They fell flat the last week.
Yeah, and then the Philadelphia Wings now they get themselves a legit superstar, so I think they got plenty of time where they get themselves acclimated, and I think they'll make a nice little run in the playoffs. But like I said, that tier three, we got the Flyers rebuilding. They're going to take some time, but again, to my man Tony saying, no winning culture with the Sixers. I really don't know. Again, are we really excited about the Sixers upcoming season?
No, but I'll tell you what, I saw a picture of Joel Embiid. He looks pretty damn good. He looks in pretty damn good shape.
That's fine to me. He could look in shape. He could look built as as an ox. Are they going to get past the second round? It's just
I mean, they have to. They have to.
Well, I mean, this year, let me ask you this question, and again, not to make excuses for this team at all, but if this team even makes it to the second round and gets bumped, the way it's going with the whole James Harden situation, is not a miracle in itself. I mean, how this team works with the ups and downs of what it's dealing with, and it does not look like James is going to be moved. At least, maybe at this point, maybe they could do it at the halfway point, the trade deadline, kind of like they did with Ben Simmons to get Harden here. But can he? Well, I mean, he's made it abundantly clear. Now, maybe the NBA fining him now $100,000 that James Harden's like chump change, but still $100,000
is out your pocket.
And do you think he can get over whatever?
I think he just needs to shut up, dude. Just like if I'm him, he can feel how he wants to feel about Daryl Morey. That's fine. Dude, but just shut up, come to work. I mean, the easiest way for you to get traded, if you shut up, come to work, play ball, okay? And if you start like really looking like the Harden of old, the Sixers will be able to find him. They'll be able to find somebody to move. The fact that this dude was a free agent and had to opt back in on his contract for a player's option because nobody wanted him.
Right. And that's, to me,
that's why I think he's crying.
Right, and I think that's the whole
reality was
reality hit him like a...
And listen, and again, he led the NBA in assists, and still nobody just batting an eye because I guess of the locker room problem that he became, and it resurfaced out in public now. So nobody wants to take a bet on him. But however,
I think he definitely rolled the wrong dice on that.
And like Al, like you were just saying, if they get a second round knockout again, this city is going to lose their mind. They're going to, again, everybody will turn Mike's here canoe into a ship of wanted to ship Joel Embiid out of here. Because he said himself in the little interview.
You know, it's taking traction when Sully got on his show last week and was like, "I'm really starting to think how you're thinking, Mike." Joe's actually starting to come around to what I was saying. So yeah, I mean, dude, listen, if Embiid wants to run his
Good
mouth,
morning, Mike.
morning, Mike. If he wants to run his mouth, get him out of here too. Like, I'm sorry, I'm getting tired of it. Like, Nick Nurse won a championship. Like, I don't care that he had Kawhi Leonard. It took 67 bounces before the ball went in. We all know, but the dude still won a championship.
Right, and so I've said this last week. The resume to me means nothing. It means nothing, and I like Nick Nurse, but it just to me, it's
Well,
just
you kind of got to pump your brakes there with that. I mean, you can't say a resume don't mean nothing.
no. I mean,
Like, the
okay,
dude's been there. He knows how to prep his
Actually, to
team
be
and
honest
gets
with
it.
you, and not to be a jerk, the resume means everything.
well, it does mean
Yeah,
everything.
like, I mean,
Well, the
if
reason
not, you could be coaching the Sixers, and I
Well-
would love and pay to see that.
Well,
Hi, I'm Pat.
the point is what do you base when you sign Jalen Hurts to a contract? You know what happens when you sign any of these
Well-
guys to a contract? Why can't we move James Harden right
Yeah,
now?
that was a bad take, man. That was
Well,
so bad. I got to put glasses on that one.
what the difference is, though, like I'm trying to state is, I didn't get excited about Nick Nurse coming in because this is a players' league. Like they run the table here, and the players that we have
Hold
here.
on, you just saw what happened with a player's coach and Doc Rivers. You just saw what happened with a player and Doc Rivers.
Oh,
so,
like I said, he
so
must.
hold on, you weren't happy with that. So now they're going to the opposite end of the spectrum, and now it sounds like you're not happy with that, dude. There's no happy medium here.
No,
And
there's
you're
not.
telling me a guy who has won the big game at one point doesn't make you feel, and recently in recent history,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Doc's
that
one
Doc-
chip was
Oh wait,
yeah,
the
08.
Phillies
So
won the World Series. I mean, let's throw it out there.
Yeah.
Last time the Phillies won the World Series.
you're right. Oh wait, so all right, so again, what 4 or 5 years ago, Nick Nurse won a championship. I mean,
well, 4 or 5 years ago is a lot.
yeah, I know,
Newer than
I know,
17.
but okay, but the point I'm trying to make is I still don't see them getting over hump. Well, even a new coach, like I said, I think Doc Rivers right now is laughing at the Sixers organization
Well, how is he laughing?
because he
got fired, bro.
He got fired based off the superstar he had an issue with apparently that was behind the stage, and here he is having issues with the GM.
I also think he's
Oh, stop, dude. Before they got Harden, he didn't get past the second round. So stop.
I don't think
Doc was part of the problem.
I don't think he's laughing his whole way to in that situation.
Doc's the reason why he got the most. Doc's squeezed every kind of apple juice at this guy to get the best kind of production.
Listen, we knew what we were getting. Like we all. I said it then. I'll say it again. We just traded our headache for Boston's headache or for Brooklyn's headache. That's all we did. It just so happened. I mean, that's all it was. We got listen. So they got out from underneath Ben Simmons. Now they're going to get out from underneath James Harden. Like I said, let them do that. Like the Sixers are going to have so much money to spend next year. It's not going to be funny.
Right. So, Al, where would you rank your tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 in this city right now? You could just go buy your 4 for 4.
All right, it's just 4 for 4.
Yeah, I mean, just based off your 4 for 4.
Yeah, 'cause Pat watches all the other ones.
Yeah,
As of right this
I'm
second,
like an Al.
I mean, as right this second, I mean, to win a championship, that's what you want, or just sitting.
Yeah,
pretty.
just a contender, a legit contender.
I mean, the Phillies and the Eagles are a 1A, 1B in my eyes, and you could go 1A, 1B on either one of them because the Phillies at this point, unless they just decide to drop off, are going to make the playoffs, and we all know how that can work into the future. The Eagles look like they're set for the future for a while, but there is some question marks going into this season defensively, and how is Sean Desai going to be there? How is Brian Johnson going to be able to play call? All those kind of little things. But ultimately, this team looks pretty stacked. And into the future, I mean, we forget we have 3 picks in the first 2 rounds next year. Still, Howie continues to do his magic, which I know it hurts for me to say sometimes. I know Matty B just coughed up a lung. But he continues. I mean, like, you got GMs out there talking about it.
Right.
And, like, not in a bad way, but not in a great way either. Like, hey, you have to keep both hands in your pocket when you're talking to Howie Roseman. But that's the kind of guy you want working for you. I mean, if I was the other guy on the other side of the table, oh, Howie Roseman's a scumbag. No, he's the kind of scumbag I like. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want.
Dallas wish they had a guy like Howie Roseman.
Oh, a lot of teams wish they had a guy like Howie Roseman.
Yeah. So,
I mean, Howie Roseman, if for whatever reason was to leave today, he would have a job in a heartbeat, probably making more money than he is now because he would get a bidding war for him.
Right.
But yeah, 1A, 1B right now because both those teams are in the driver's seat and seem to have at least longevity over the next few years. That brings you down to the 2 in the bottom, and I mean when Joel Embiid's on your team, you have to have some confidence. The Flyers. The only reason I would put the Sixers a tiny bit ahead of the Flyers is because you have Joel Embiid. You have the ability to still salvage the somehow if Daryl Morey can pull off some magic and salvage this team and build this team up right. The Flyers are just they're still so far in the building process.
Oh yeah.
So that's how I would probably put it. If it was, but the organization of the Sixers alone make me want to put them below the Flyers right now.
Right, and then like I said to your point, that's how I have it ranked. Like the 3 teams, like I said, the Eagles, because like you said, like a lot of teams would beg to have Howie in his services and what he can do. Like even with Howie and Nick Sirianni at the helm of the front office, it's like I have no worries about this team. I have none. And like you said, maybe I'm looking at this as with a lot of optimistic coming into it. But however, I just feel really good about it. I really feel good about the Eagles. And the Phillies, again, with this offense, as much as I complained with Mike about it, they're in a better seat than they were a year ago. And this is where this kind of run started. I said looking at big picture. So number 3, this Phillies offense, you can't sleep. And look, for the Braves being as dominant as they are, this Phillies team can go neck and neck. This Phillies team can go neck and neck. I'm looking at big picture. Mike, it takes me a while to brain to get the
Dude, you just made everybody who was watching us from the beginning of the show, literally, they all just went and looked at their coffee going, what's in here?
Yeah, well.
What was I drinking? Because you literally...
Hold on. Can I finish my statement, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And then, like I said, with the Philadelphia Union, the way Jim Kern's coaching this team, and, again, just pulling guys off their second squad and getting these guys all coached up. You saw yesterday, they're getting creative. They're bringing tons of offensive pressure. Their defense looked good. Andre Blake, one of the best goaltenders in the league, and he's been for some time. I mean, how do you not have them as a runner-up? So I feel good about that. And then you go to your tier 2. Like I said, I had the Sixers there. I just feel like if there wasn't so many problems with the Sixers front management, I think this team can. And if they could finally somehow, some way, to build around Joel Embiid and get him some more productive, perimeter shooting, I think they would be a good team. And then, you have the Flyers rebuilding, but I also have on that second tier, I have the Philadelphia Stars, who are, like I said, kind of declined. That's why I have them on tier 2 now, on tier 1. And then I have the Philadelphia Wings because they literally got a legit superstar who can make some noise. So, but look, I want to edge in this too. So my man Mike goes Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers. I still have the Phillies in front of the Eagles. I might have the Phillies in front of the Eagles.
I think it's because right now they're closer to
then again,
getting to the postseason, and the Eagles haven't played a game yet in the season. So that would be the only reason I could see having the Phillies in front of the Eagles right now.
Yeah, but then again, now I'm just thinking about Mike. He's, the Eagles were dominant. They only had 2-3 losses last year. They squashed every team that everybody was so hyped about, the Giants and the Niners, squashed them, got to the championship, and had, the Chiefs on the ropes. So,
Pat, I just got one question. It's not Philly related sports, but how do you guys feel about the Cowboys trading for Trey Lance?
Yeah. Let the QB controversy begin.
Woo-hoo! Let me ask you a question, though. In all honesty, do you think they went out and got this kid because they feel like they're not going to be able to sign back? Because I think the Cowboys are going to have a good year this year. I really do. They're a team.
I don't have them having a bad year.
I have, believe it or not, I have them as the second best team in the NFC. And I mean, and they're right there with the Eagles.
You don't have the Niners?
No. No. Did you
No, the whole
Brock Purdy,
the whole Bay Area is pumped up with the Niners. Going to give the Eagles the fits this year.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Hey, December 3rd, Niner fans, make sure you tell your coach to bring some extra QBs.
Woohoo!
Because do you really think Brock Purdy and then and Sam Darnold, guy who sees ghosts? Are you worried about Sam Darnold? I'm not.
Oh man,
Not worried about Brock Purdy.
No.
He was the next best thing. Remember, he was going to take Bang Bang Niner Gang. They were going to come east and do away with us.
No.
Yeah, dude. The best thing I loved about that whole game was I tell Niners fans all the time, your best defensive player got shut down by a guy who was playing on one leg. Can you imagine what a healthy Lane Johnson's going to do to a Bosa this year? A healthy Lane Johnson.
Turn him into a lunch pal.
So, yeah. He said Dak will be traded after the season. I wouldn't be surprised at that.
Wait a minute. What is Dak's contract for?
He's got 2 years left on his contract.
Okay.
But they got him on a and this contract something I was watching Nick Wright the other day. He was talking about it. He cannot be franchise tagged no more.
Right.
Like they franchise tagged him or whatever. He can't be. It's in his contract. He can't be franchise tagged. So he's got 2 more years left in Dallas. I can see the Cowboys trying to trade him off, even because if he has a good year this year, they said he could probably be the next guy who'll be making $60 million a year.
Right.
That would be your $60 million a year player, and Dak's not worth 60.
And they're not invested. They're telling you right now.
And let's be honest, Dak is
I'm interested.
choke artist. I'm going to throw it out there.
I'm interested to see where he is with this offense with them because I truly believe this is going to help him. Because if you take a look, they got the ain't that I want to see how he reacts into his offense because they're doing like a West Coast type offense with him where he's going to be getting the ball out. And of course, you got guys like Cooks. They got Brandon Cooks this year. They got CeeDee Lamb. They also got Michael Gallup, who's coming in relatively healthy than he was a year ago. So, and I like their tight ends. Their tight ends are pretty darn good over there.
I'm gonna clip that out.
What?
I like their tight ends.
Well, listen. So part of this, our man Jim Chitesco, my man has every day labeled on his calendar: coffee day, pumpkin spice coffee. But he also brought something last week that caught my eye a little bit. And he said it was National Sports Radio Day or National Radio Day. So to you guys, what is it about this city and sports radio that just goes hand in hand? Like, what makes us want to get in our cars and football and sports radio?
The passion of our fan base. If you take a look, really good sports talk radio is in highly passionate cities. Okay, and take a look around. I mean, Philadelphia, New York, Boston, Chicago. I mean, you take a look at and I'm bringing up those because those are the only ones that I've really kind of heard. If you look at those clowns in San Francisco, they're still crying about the NFC Championship game, and we're already about to start another season.
Right.
So I don't take any of the West Coast guys seriously. I don't. If you listen to their sports talk, it's basically a joke. Now, what I will say is, if you listen, again, passionate fan bases. If you go down south, they have sports talk down there. A lot of college football. Atlanta, especially Atlanta. I mean, all you got to do is talk to John Kincaid. I mean, he worked in Atlanta for 20 years. I'm pretty much. They have some good fans down there, but everything's about Georgia Bulldogs and Georgia Tech. You know what I mean? The Yellow Jackets. So it's all about that. Like Braves baseball and the Falcons are an afterthought. Like pro sports down there's an afterthought. So, but if you take a look at passionate fan bases, and I'm talking really diehard passionate fan bases, and it's mainly a lot of areas that have 4 for 4 to have all 4 teams. Like LA's pretty, they're pretty passionate. Like you don't get a whole lot of Dodgers talk, but Lakers now with the Rams being back out there, the Chargers being out there, I would think that would be a pretty passionate fan base. Even though they're probably the most laid back out of the fan bases. Like the 3 rabbit ones are Philly, New York, and Boston.
Right.
And I don't think anybody.
I got to throw Chicago. You got Chicago.
No, because Chicago's kind of got that New York thing going. With the 2 teams and each thing. So, sometimes you get some people that like the White Sox and love the White Sox. Other people love the Cubbies. They can all agree on the Bears because there's no other football team there. But and the Blackhawks.
It's more like the south end of Chicago roots for the White Sox, the north end
and roots for the Cubbies. And but to me, he goes, oh wow.
So Mike's saying I have no local sports where I live in upstate New York. As I live in a small city, I miss that the most. Not living in Philly anymore.
Right.
So and I think it's pretty much echoing what Pat said, or what Mike was saying, Pat. It's funny that you bring this up because I was at the Phillies game yesterday. I was at a tailgate yesterday, and I'm looking around, and I sat there with my wife, and I said, "Babe, just stand up with me for a second." And I spun around in a 360, and I said, "This is for a Phillies game, and now it's a Saturday night, but a Phillies game against the bottom-feeding St. Louis Cardinals. And a random August night, people could be away or doing something else. and you can't see a parking lot where there isn't people grilling, throwing a ball around, drinking a beer, having a good time on a random Phillies game against the St. Louis Cardinals.
And
This isn't a playoff game.
Mhm.
No real playoff implications. This is constant. I mean,
Even when they're bad, there's still
people are
20.
still doing it.
There's still 20 to 30,000 down there when the Phillies were bad. I had season tickets when they were bad, and there were still 30,000 people showing up down there for games.
Yeah.
Well,
Tailgates.
well, that's
spending
why
their
I'm s-
time. I mean, it's a whole day event.
right, and that's what I love about the city because again we beat records again within the what 2 weeks ago, right? When Messi got here, tickets were sold within 7 minutes, sold out. WrestleMania announced they're going to have their tickets go on sale.
Sold out in 2 minutes.
Sold out in 2 minutes. Made LA look dumb.
Yeah.
But again, this town and like so what I'm trying to drive at is like we get in our cars, we don't listen to us sports heads, we don't really listen to music. We go right for sports radio. We want to react and
If
listen
you're
to
in the
everybody.
sports, and you live in
And-
this area, yeah,
I
the
mean,
first
so-
thing you're doing is turn on 97.5 or WIP
and and
Or
WIP
EOP.
or EOP.
or EOP. Sometimes you want to listen to what Big Al's got to say.
Sometimes.
Yeah. So I mean, and Mike, so why did you want to get in this? Who inspired you? Why? Like why you could have just said, when I asked you a few years, hey Mike, you could have gone, nah, I'm cool. But you had an itch for it. So like what drove you?
What drove me is because I'm a Philadelphia fan, and sometimes you kind of need an outlet. And I know a lot of people don't like Cataldi, but listen, he's the godfather of sports talk radio, regardless of what anybody wants to say. Okay, it was him, Brookshire, Tom Brookshire, the former Eagle, even Howard Eskin. As
Yeah.
much as everybody hates the King or whatever, those guys, Tony Bruno, they started sports talk radio in this city, and Mikey and the Mad Dog was only on a month earlier than them. So, like, Mikey and the Mad Dog was like they started this whole sports talk thing, but literally the very next month, Angelo and company started down here. And if you take a look at it, Brookshire retired, okay, after doing NFL play-by-play. Also, it says what makes Boston, New York, Philly great sports radio. They actually go after their home teams if they stink. That's what you get.
Good point.
That's what I'm saying. Like, not to be funny, and I know I pick on the Mets a lot, but listen, Yankee fans, if their Yankees are not playing the way they want to play, oh my God, is FAM blowing up? WEEI, was it EI up in Boston? If the Sox ain't doing what they're supposed to be doing, oh my Lord! Like I've heard, like, post games and stuff like that from WEEI. You can listen online. You sit there and listen, like, especially if the Phillies are playing the Sox or whatever. You go up, you listen to it and see what's what. Just hearing the different. Listen to a Boston radio station. We are more similar with Boston than people realize. The only difference is we pronounce our R's. They don't know how to pronounce their R's up there.
All right.
But and I love them, but like we have the same hatred for New York because of the close proximity. They're close to New York as
Yeah.
well. They have no love for the
Kinda
Yankees,
in between us.
right? So and plus, New
And
York.
I think it's just because New York's always New York. It's New York,
Right.
New York, New York. Everything, every movie, it's set in New York. Everything's New York. Every time anybody thinks of America and they think of a city, the first thing they think their brain towards is New York.
Right.
Oh, Philly's a cesspool. I mean, have you seen the crime in New York? I hate to break it to you guys. Like,
Yeah,
it's
But
like-
I mean, to me, it's like three brothers, right? They love to battle with each other. They respect each other, but they love to battle with each other.
No, I don't know about respect. You ever listen to Craig Carton? That dude's a clown,
Well,
and he cut his teeth at WIP. Now he gets up there, and but I think he just does a lot of clickbait stuff. Because if you listen to him all last year, he kept saying, "Oh, Jalen Hurts stinks. He stinks. He stinks. He stinks." Now he's got to eat a bowl of crow because Hurts got. He took everybody.
Pat's salivating.
mhm.
Yeah, he heard crow.
He
I thought he heard-
eating.
Oh, I heard eating
You
a
don't care
bird.
what's in that ball.
I said crow, not the other word.
Oh,
He would have had a bowl full of them.
oh,
But no, I mean, I like the fact that it's close proximity. It ain't nothing. It's a 6-hour ride from Philly to Boston.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
cut that in half to go to New York.
Yeah,
Maybe
pretty
two.
much.
You know what I mean? So, you can always go up there and see a good game.
Yeah. So, how about for you, Al? Like, what made you want to start doing this? Like, who was it? Why'd you start doing like like you said, everyone gets in their cars, they put on the radio, and they want to react to what they just saw from last night, whatever, good or bad. Uh, and it's sports driven. It's this passionate fan base. I've always said it's number one. But Al, take it away. What do you have?
What got me to want to do it? Funny thing is my grandfathers. I mean, two crazy sports nuts.
No.
I mean, my grandfather was watching multiple TVs before that was like a thing to do. Like, he had one of those little black and white, like on your lap TVs and stuff like that. So he would put multiple games on. So getting that embedded in you as a sports fan was a thing. And then kind of like what you guys said, you're going to get into a car. I mean, I have all this stuff to listen to music, every iTunes music, radio, like everything you could think of that I can listen to. Not listen to the same song twice in a week. You know what I mean? And yet I put on sports radio.
Right.
I put on our stuff. I put on WIP at times. I put on 97.5. I put in other people's stuff because I want to hear what everybody has to say, even though there's a lot of similarities.
Right.
A lot of people do, have a lot of the same opinions. But what made me want to do it was that reason. I like to think outside the box. So when people are talking, I'm like, all right, I see what they're saying, but maybe there's something missing. Maybe there's another wrinkle in the situation. And I'm like, and I'll point it out, and I'm like, well, why can't we do this?
Yeah.
And the ability nowadays to do so has become easier. Back in the day, you had to go to school and you had to like try to fight for one job between 10,000 people, and it would be hard to do.
Yeah, now we can just.
Now your voice can be heard, and we get great people like we have been chiming in all morning long, talking with us, and
I get to deal with Pat every day.
yeah,
even
and that's the
on
thing is
Sunday.
like, let's be honest. A lot of times, especially nowadays, radio is very sticky. And what I mean by that is like, it's preordained. It's like reality TV. It's scripted. They say it's not, but it is. This guy's all right. I'm gonna come after you. You're coming. I'm gonna come after you about this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna fight with each other. Da, da, da. Or we're gonna incite the fans this way or that way. Ours is real.
Yes.
And I think that's what makes it great. Like, do I think that every person who does a sports announcing for any team has to be a fan of said team? Because there's plenty of guys that we listen to on the radio who didn't start off here in this area, who didn't start off as fans, and they make it clear to that, but they are a fan of the sport, and they can see, and you can see they know what they're talking about. But what makes us a little different is that we're both. We put the time in, we put the effort in when we don't have to. I think sometimes that just goes a little further.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, you are hearing the voice of God, aka Al. Al don't ever put himself on our show. We're gonna have to put.
I don't know if I put another pretty face on here. I don't know if this world can handle that.
Three handsome gents. Well, at least 2.5.
Too much.
So that's what it was for me. Like once I retired from the wrestling business, like I always loved
retired
sports.
Or thrown out. I always wanted to ask that question.
More thrown out.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but like once I got it, like I started listening to sports radio, and Mike, like you were saying, like if you look at the godfathers of Philly sports radio, you had Catoli, you had Howard Eskin, you had Tony Bruno, and for me it was Mikey Miss. And for my ride home from work after a long day, I started listening to Mikey Miss more and more, and the way he delivered his message, I was just like it went from speaking to to your heart. Like that's how your heart felt about whatever happened the night before. And it's just like, wow, this guy gets it, and he understands how So that's what kind of drove me to do this.
Yeah, Mike always kept it kind of real too. Like I used to listen to him a lot when he was on WIP when he did the afternoon before they stuck him with Howard. When he was, I always liked it because at one point in time was over there as well, and because would be on right before him, and they would always have this little layover. And you know what? I just remember listening to them guys when, especially after a bad Eagles loss. You know what I mean? Where like when you listen to the Cubs, he lives and breathes it. Like he wears his emotions on his sleeve,
right? And that's what that's what's different. From us,
Jody
from a lot
Mack.
of people.
Jody Mack is
Jody
awesome.
Mack, yeah.
Like that's the only New Yorker I think I could ever really say that I like.
And a lot of people do it, and that's like a lot of the A lot of these sports hosts around here, they scream, they yell, and they like I don't think they
But
do
they
it. I think
scream to scream
scream.
sometimes.
Right. I just think because they speak it like you said with Anthony, he has the city written on his sleeves. He eats and breathes this,
Yeah,
Philly
like Ant
sports.
would be the guy that would get all crazy, and Mike Miss would be like, and I used to love their crossovers because if Ant was real excited about something, Mike would be the guy to go, all right, cuz you need to calm down a little bit. And he'd be like, no, but like,
Yeah,
like
he would go off.
especially yeah, he would go off, especially if it was something dumb that the Eagles did where they should have won a game. I just remember that like Mike was kind of always that, he was even keeled. Like he never got too high, never got too low. And if something like for him to go off, it had to be something really,
Yeah.
really, really like you
I
would see.
Right. And that's what kind of got me into it. So when I had the opportunity, man, when you Tom Kelly kind of offered me the opportunity to work with him in Passon Ave, I immediately hopped on it 6 years ago, and it's been a blast. And I'm here with you guys every Sunday, and it's I get to talk Philly sports. I get to listen, and here I am. I listen to Edge of Philly sports all day, every day, and I get to listen to some of the great hosts around. I'm not trying to toot horns or anything like that, but it's a
Toot toot.
toot. I get to work with some great people. And
Oh, is there other people here?
That's what I was about to say. Who
uh,
are you talking about?
so again, it's been a really, really great time, and like I said, that's what kind of got us into it. So I mean,
But Pat, we got to switch. We got to change courses now.
Real quick though,
what's that?
before we do that, David Archerry is the man. CherryInjuryLaw.com. You get hurt at work. You get hurt in motor vehicle accident, personal injury, criminal law. You name it, Dave can help you out with all your legal needs. He is there to fight for your rights, fight for your justice. And like I said, guys, before, workers' comp, motor vehicle, personal injury, criminal law, these things can be life-altering situations. Don't let it happen to you without somebody who's going to fight for you. David Archerry is a man. Call him at 610-565-0300 or cherryinjurylaw.com. And that number again is 610-565-0300.
So yeah, there you have it. We're like again.
Yeah, I had to
talking
put that number in my phone because this way, when Pat says something off the wall, I can choke him. I got to have legal representation.
So
Yeah, Dave, it's Mike. Yeah, I choked him again. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
hey, listen, I was pulling cords too yesterday. Was I not? I was
Wait,
yanking them.
who were you pulling?
What
was his name again?
We were wee whacking.
Okay.
Me and Mike were wee whacking.
Literally.
I was pulling every guy's wee whacker.
You guys were the bushwhackers?
Oh yeah. So anyway, but look, Mike, the Eagles made some cuts. So what caught your eye yesterday?
Oh, Lordy. Let me break out my rusty, trusty notepad here.
Yes.
These were some of
you
the.
said Rusty. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah. I meant to say trusty, but, Rusty came out. It's still early for me, too. Couple notable names on here. Tyree Jackson got cut, which I'm not surprised considering the depth that they have at the tight end position. So you kind of knew, I think his time was coming. They also cut Dan Arnold, which to me, I thought that was a little bit of a shock. Shocked me a little bit because I thought maybe they would like to bring in another veteran presence to go along with that tight end room, but it just goes to show you how they feel about Jack Stoll and Calcaterra. So one guy I'm glad is not on this team, Mr. Dennis Kelly. His second go around ended abruptly quick. This one surprised me too. Al, I know you are a offensive line guy. Brett Toth getting released. I thought he did okay.
Yeah, I think what they saw from some other guys this year, and I mean, how long's Brett Toth been here now for? A few years?
A couple of years.
Yeah, he can only carry so much. So at this point, it's like
I thought this kid had a decent training camp for the time he was here. The Johnny King, the wide receiver.
yeah,
I thought he did some pretty good
he
things.
was a guy that we talked about. Yeah,
Ian Book, I am so glad he's gone. You know me. This was a one that I was really surprised with, which was Deion Kane. I was surprised they let him go. Now I think they may bring him back for like practice squad, but I was really surprised that they let him go. They finish up with Tyrese Robbins, Roderick Johnson, who's on IR, and Cameron Toms. So they were the cuts that they made yesterday. Going forward, though, what do you think? Who do you think has a? Who do you think is going to be on? What surprise, I should say, do you think is going to be on that cut roster as of Tuesday? Like, who do you think you're going to look and go, well, I didn't see that coming?
I don't know, because right now, looking at the roster, looking at the guys that are on the bubble, for lack of better words, I can go either way with a lot of these guys. Guys that, I mean, we know who our starters on the line are. Who the wide receiver one could be a little bit. You can go a little back and forth with that, the fourth or fifth, depending on how many they keep. The running backs one is the bigger question because
That's where I
are
want to
we
keep my
keeping?
eye.
Are we keeping
This is
three?
where I'm.
Are we running with
They're
4?
going with 4. But my whole thing is, as much as I like Trey Sermon, and you've been hearing me shout his praises for over a year now, I have a feeling he's the odd man out because. And I'm sorry, I didn't see anything. Did you guys see anything special from Rashad Penny that warrants him staying on this team?
He's a guy I think it's not going to be.
That's what I'm
I want to see
thinking.
if Rashad can make it.
I don't. I'd rather keep Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon's a younger version of Rashad Penny, and he's more durable. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't. I've been saying for the last 2 weeks, I don't see Rashad Penny making this team. He hasn't done anything, and it was kind of weird seeing that Trey Sermon basically was their back for the whole game. It was just him and Kennedy Brooks.
Which kind of alludes you to think that they're just putting a show on for him and get him out of there or something.
Well, that's what
Stash him on the practice squad somewhere, maybe again. I don't know.
I don't. It's either one they did that so he can get a lot of tape and they're going to let him go, or
You would think they would have done that by now, though, right?
no, they got until Tuesday.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, unless they're trying to shop him.
Nah, I don't think they're a shop. I'm interested to see though. Like, I'm interested to see who Howie picks up after the cuts because there's going to be some people cut. You know what I mean? There's going to be some really decent people cut. But one thing I will say, the linebackers, I'm loving the Eagles linebacker group. I think Zach Cunningham made it. I think the kid Ellis made it. And I hope they keep that kid Van Hessen.
Well, you're one of the few that are actually pumped because a lot of people have them as a
because you know what they're not watching linebacking play. Because these guys that they have, like, I'm sorry, I like Nicholas Morrow. I thought he had a really good first preseason game, but after that he fell off. I don't think he's going to make the team. But if you watch Zach Cunningham play linebacker, he is the perfect complementary to play next to Nakobe Dean. And if you look at it also, too, they also got Ellis. They can move Ellis inside as well. I like you can move Ellis
Christian
inside.
Ellis looks good.
Yeah, you can move Ellis inside and move Cunningham to the outside backer. And there's your 4 linebackers would be Reddick, Reddick, Ellis, Dean, and then Cunningham. You know what I mean? And I think that would look really good. The Eagles got better at linebacker just by adding these guys in that were, not linked on to nobody else. Like I said, I don't think Nick Morrow makes the team. If he does, he might get brought back. You know what I mean? But stop and think about it for a second, dude. He led the Bears in tackles a year ago, and the Bears just let him walk. You know what I mean? Like, how do you lead the team in tackles and then they let you go?
I think it's a cost thing for that. Honestly, I think it was cost.
Well, it couldn't be that much of a cost because they signed Edmonds and TJ Edwards. So they got the guy Edmonds from Buffalo.
How much did they sign him for?
4 years, like $60 million, and then they gave TJ Edwards like $20 million. So they spent about $70 million in linebackers. So I don't know, man. Like, to me, that kind of opened my eyes a little bit. I did see, like I said, he looked good in the first preseason game against Baltimore, but then after that, he was kind of like, eh.
Well, Mike, let me, going back to our tier 1 conversation, same thing with the Birds. We didn't really touch on it though. Just look kind of like a crystal ball looking forward. I mean, is there a team in the NFC other than the Cowboys that scare you? And maybe like in a playoff game?
I I mean, you would have to put the. I'm not putting the Niners in there because I don't even think the Niners are going to win their division. I think Seattle's winning that division. So, um, I'm looking around like Minnesota. I think Minnesota is what they are.
Which
Same.
is not
Right.
scary at all. I went through the NFC team the other day.
Like it's really the Cowboys. Like it's basically the Cowboys. I mean, the Giants you could throw in there. I mean, as much as we've dominated
honestly,
the Giants,
my call this a hot take, whatever you want to call it. I don't think the Giants are going to be as good as people predict just yet.
I'm with you.
I don't get the thought process. Like they made the playoffs last year because of Brian Dable, not because
Right.
of Daniel Jones.
yeah, but the whole NFC's. I mean, listen, I'm not going to lie. I think the most surprised team this year, I think who's going to surprise a lot of teams, is going to be the Atlanta Falcons.
They'll be surprising because they might be 8-8.
No, I think they're going to be a little better than that. Like they got their defense really came on at the end of last year. There was 3 NFC teams last year that was really hot. You had the Birds, the Detroit Lions, and the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta's got a really nasty defense, and they just upgraded their offense with Bijan Robinson. They got a tight end, a wide receiver, and a running back.
Just nobody to throw it to.
Yeah, no, they got somebody to throw it to.
I mean, nobody that I feel is proven yet.
Well, listen, Desmond Ritter.
It's the same thing with the 49ers. You got a lot of good pieces.
I don't know about that. I think that's a little overblown too.
Well, I don't. I believe I agree with you on that. I believe.
Like I don't like McCaffrey. You ever notice something like McCaffrey does well against bottom tier teams? You don't see him busting nobody that's an elite team. Never has. Like that's why I never bought into his hype. Like, yes, did he have a great run in that NFC title game? He had a great run. I'm not saying that he's not a good back, but when he's got to go against a stellar defense, that stellar defense, they flatline.
Yeah,
he'll get one play.
I mean, if you look West, the only team that gives me any possibility of being any really credence to being a good tough team, maybe Seattle, maybe. If you look at the North, you look Chicago might turn it on.
I think Chicago. I think Detroit's going to be a good team.
I think Detroit will be better. I think Chicago could give some teams some fits as they grow, but they're still growing. In the South, no, there's no team. The Saints, maybe. I think
no.
I don't know. I think the Saints.
Really, Saints a sleeper?
I could say that. I could say that a little bit. With the defense that they usually have, and you got Derek Carr at the helm, a little bit better for me. A little better quarterback than they're used to having. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I like
they got rid of some dead weight.
I like their trio at wide receiver. I think they,
That's what I'm saying. And Derek Carr throwing to him is the best quarterback they've had.
Yeah, but their offensive line took a hit. Like Derek Carr went from a bad situation with Vegas to probably a worse one as far as offensive line wise. Like I don't know. Like Derek Carr gets happy. He's too happy feet for me. He gets hit around. All of a sudden, this dude's shucking and diving.
No, you're right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's going to be a big I'm nervous.
I just think Carolina. I think they'll take some growing pains this year, but I think
it'll be a good team, but nothing to write home about.
I don't think they're right there yet. But the one thing that I have to look ahead, we're looking at this week 1 matchup. Man, let me tell you, I'm interested to see how Bill Belichick prepares for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
I'm waiting to see that because there is no more McCourty in the back playing safety for them. He's gone. Seattle or Detroit slightly scare me for Mike. Yeah, I think both of them are going to be good.
Listen, we're the defending NFC champions, right? So people are going to come at you. Like look at the Colts. Look at the Colts. They beat us in a preseason game.
Oh my God, was that not?
You guys see the video on their Twitter?
No.
They're like, and they're like he's flapping his wings after his arms.
Like you would have thought they would punch their ticket to go to the next.
They won the Super Bowl.
Oh, it was bad. Like if I'm a Colts fan, I would have literally been hitting that up going.
I think the over/under on them wins is 5.5.
Yeah.
Woo! A preseason game.
A preseason game. You guys went against our 3s and 4s. You started your starters, and
the 3s and 4s were holding their own.
Wow.
I mean, they didn't pull away till late. So I mean,
I would have been a little embarrassed as an organization and a fan base if the Colts were acting like that.
And the Eagles may still end up getting their running back.
What? Right?
One guy tweeted, he said, "This dub was for you guys sending us Carson Wentz." And I'm like, and I typed him back. I said, I said, we didn't stick a gun to your head and tell you you had to take Carson Wentz
Yeah,
for our
you guys
first.
should be going after
I
your man.
said, Chris Ballard called Howie Roseman and said, "Hey, we'll offer you a first round pick for Carson Wentz." I was like, if you're Howie Roseman, you would have done it.
You took that all day.
I was like, so I'm like, get mad at your GM. I was like, we didn't pull one over on you. I was like, your GM was just stupid.
How would when everyone's playing checkers, my man's playing chess.
Mike,
you got
Dave
another
wants to know Jacob's going back to Vegas. Your thought? Have fun being irrelevant.
Who, Josh Jacobs?
That's what
Yeah.
he's flying to.
I hate to say it, but I think it's Dallas versus the Eagles NFC Championship. Mike,
listen, I've had a conversation about this. I don't know if we can handle that.
I think it'd be great.
No. I honestly don't know. It's one of those things you won't know until it happens, but I don't know if we, as a fan base, I mean, I'm going to take off work for 2 weeks straight if that happens. For a week straight, I mean.
I don't know, but
I will be in
do me a favor if
all week long.
Listen, if that happens, I'm speaking to the fan base. Please don't do nothing idiotic. Like, don't pick up horse poop. Don't take the grease off the poles and grease another pole. You know what I'm saying? Don't do nothing.
Wait, that happened?
Apparently.
Oh, God.
Speaking of grease and poles, I mean, Pat likes to do that. We actually got his picture from last year.
That's right. Let me see. Hold on. I might have it.
No, we don't have that. It got deleted or something.
Oh, wrong one.
That was Pat last night.
I do have this marked as pole greasing, but I guess it was wrong. I don't know.
Hey, what's that doing up there? But anyway, listen.
Pat, what's up with your buddy? Kind of stubble there, man. Tell him to shave.
Who?
Your
Whiskers?
Buddy. Yeah.
That's Brian. But
it tickles.
Yeah, it's me, Brian. We went from wee whacking to the blue oyster.
It went to wee whacking back to whacking. Just straight whacking.
Yeah. So listen, Phillies, big game today. We got Nola on the mound. Guys, how you feeling?
This is one thing I want to say today. Hopefully, one really good thing that come out of this. I know, again, Dave, calm down. I know it is the lowly bottom feed Cardinals. I get it. But can Aaron Nola be Mr. September instead of Mr. Irrelevant in September? Because he had a really good outing last game.
Yes.
Can he have another one in a row? That's a good question.
He had a shake like the
shaky
jitterbugs.
first inning, but then after that,
right, he had ice in his veins. He was silent.
That was Taiwan Walker. I'm afraid of it, honestly, guys. That man lost control and velocity, and that's usually not a good sign. So hopefully, it's more mental.
Well, listen, it was nice seeing Dylan Covey yesterday get in the side of the strike zone yesterday.
Oh my God!
You want to talk about?
I thought we got rid of him.
He's in the bullpen now.
Yeah, but I'm saying, didn't they release? Wasn't it him that got picked up by somebody?
No, we're all hoping.
That was
you and I are hoping for Greg Soto to get picked up by somebody.
Falter when they traded Falter?
No, not Falter. Falter got traded. This guy got. Was it Dylan Cousins? I think it was. They got traded.
Oh, that was a while ago. Yeah.
No, not this year's. They had somebody on their team doing something. They let him go. They called him up from the minors. He played a few games with the Phillies, and then they got let go, and then he got claimed by somebody like the Yankees or somebody. I thought that was Dylan Covey.
No, Dylan Covey.
Unless they let him back to his last night.
Unless they got rid of him.
Unless they brought him up back up. Yeah, he's been okay coming out of the bullpen except for the other night, and then the fans rally him up, and he's been okay. So, Mike, again, Nola on the mound. How are we feeling? Are we sweeping today or what?
Yeah, I got. It's been a while. We need to break out some brooms. We had to let's remind St. Louis that we swept you in your park last year, so now we're going to sweep you in our park, and let's go.
Let's go. Get out the brooms. Al, how you feeling?
I feel good today. I do. I mean, I always worry coming off 2 offensive explosive games that.
Yeah, no one's going to win
down
2-1 today.
Yeah, it's going to be a real cold, bat day. This team looks like, I don't know. I don't feel like that right now. They might not win by 10 or 12, but I could see like a 5-1 victory.
5-1, 5-2, something there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that happen. So, guys, and
I know Matty B is on on the call today for the Fightins final, as it'll be the third day in a row for him. So yeah,
Oh my gosh! So I got
He's a
last series. He
machine.
did it.
He's a machine.
I did the last series. He got this series. That's
Yeah.
nice. So, guys, for me, Mike, Al, we're gonna wrap this up. And guys, stay tuned because today, we have All Across All the Time coming on at 11 a.m. And of course, Al just mentioned Matty B will be on the fighting final. And of course, we have today's Steel Steps will be going live after AEW's All In. So guys, check them out as well. So guys, stay tuned. Go Phils, and we'll talk to you next week.